before I went live. I know, I know. Mm, Let's just say I am totally out of my element right now, which is exactly why I went live. Let me go cut the hair off because it's cold. I'm sitting literally under the bed. And then what we're gonna do is I gotta get much watching. I told you, listen, I told you I'm completely outside of my element. Um, but I'm gonna tell you why I'm here so early. Hold on, give me a second. But I'm tell you why I'm here. So just give me a second. I'm going to tell you why I'm here so early. And I got a good reason. Trust me, I have a darn good reason why I'm here so early. I'm somehow good. I couldn't go back to sleep. I couldn't, obviously, because I had was putting Cole to sleep last night, and it was uh grocery store Tuesday yesterday. And when I tell you, I was so tired that I can't confirm. I was so exhausted, and I have no other choice but to just because it's sleep. You really can't fight it. Like, to be quite honest, you just have to succumb to it. There's no reason in fighting it, especially when it just overtakes you. And so I was sleepy. I woke up. It was 2 o'clock a.m. I only had enough energy to get up and use the bathroom and went right back to sleep. And as I'm making my way to the bathroom and I'm making my way back to sleep, the only thing I could think about was how Candace Owens was breaking the internet. Sh That's the only thing I could think about because I think it was about 7-ish. What time did I screenshot this? Let me get the time. Let me get the exact time that I screenshot it. 8:12 PM when I screenshotted this. And it said that she had streamed it an hour ago. She had released the interview an hour ago. Look at the numbers. 423,000 views in an hour. That's Look at it now. Look at it now. Wait, let me go find it. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Let me fix this screen. It's right there. It's right there. Look, it's literally right there. 1.1 million. I, that's why I'm up. This is why I'm up this early. This is exactly why I'm up this early. Because I knew she was breaking the internet. And I knew I was gonna have an amazing Wednesday. She sat down with Vladimir Putin. We gotta get into it. It's only hour 22. We're gonna see how let's just see. Let's see how far I can get. I didn't know the St. Petersburg she was talking about was Russia. Remember she was like she was going to St. Petersburg? And I didn't know. Um, which is St. Petersburg she was talking about. I feel like I seen this video before. Um, ooh, he was choking. Look at her with this red lipstick. Child, do y'all see her with this red lipstick, honey? Oh my God. I cannot deal with her. Hold on, let me fix my screen real quick because it's doing a lot. Do y'all see her with this red lipstick, honey? But she got battle bun. It is battle bun Wednesday. Dang, totally forgot about battle bun Wednesday. Hold on, let me adjust the screen. With this red lipstick. Oh, and who was this? That then took Blake. Oh, she took Blake Neff down because they allegedly released. Let's get into it.
Comrades,
She dropped it yesterday, so
and wish to be called Pandastovia Moskowins. I think going forward makes sense. You guys can say hello to my new little babushka. She's so cute because this is like a thing now.
yeah,
Sort of loses its collective mind. For me to
yeah.
get on a plane and everybody just starts spinning all these fairy tales.
Been hiding.
Was insanity.
Yeah.
Larry Loomer attacking the United States Treasury. People saying that I needed to be investigated for putting my children in harm's way. Glenn Beck seeing Alexander Dugans on the wall. Ben Shapiro, of course, back upon the midget horse. It was absolute cinema. Well, welcome back to Candace.
Where's she going with this red lipstick? Is what I'm trying to figure out. Let me get me some gloss. I can do that red, but I can do some shea butter, some coconut oil, but I can do that red. Ooh.
Yes, I was being Russian tricky. I was being a little bit tricky. The photo on our thumbnail is AI. President Putin is not, in fact, in studio today.
See what I mean? She had me going. She had me going. I was for certain she had sat down with Vladimir. Oh my God, I can't deal with her. She got me up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I can't deal with her. I'm glad she said something. Come on, bring your ass on.
Sorry, I'm trying to make it happen though. Okay, so we can hope for the future. But who knew? Who knew? Nobody told me. But I was required to formally submit an itinerary when I travel on vacation with my family. I had no idea that this became a thing.
Right.
I didn't know that when I said I am taking my kids to Italy, as an example, a month ago, that I was required to also tell people that I might have dinner with some priests and a cardinal, that I was going to get confirmed into the Catholic Church. I thought I was just allowed to do that. Like I could just go out and not be like, I don't know, an elected official who does have to formally submit their itineraries because they're using tax-paying dollars. I mean, the absolute state of Zionist affairs in media today. She didn't tell you she was going to be speaking on a panel in St. Petersburg while on family vacation. Is everybody okay?
Mm.
Do you know that there had literally never, there's never in the history of all of my family vacations, has there been a one vacation where I was not also, I don't know, taking a meeting simultaneously trying to make a business connection, one in Rome sort of a thing? Did you know that you're allowed to like answer work emails while you're away? You can do that. Nobody cared when I went to Hungary and I met with Viktor Orban. He was the president. Nobody knows that I once did a long form interview with a Japanese journalist. I don't think I have ever once gone to London, which is virtually an annual or biannual trip in my household, without taking multiple meetings, doing random interviews. But for some reason, Russia, you can't. We need to know everything. So, to walk you guys through what happened, my husband and I planned a family vacation to Russia. We then thought, hey, while we're there, we should try to see if we can get an interview with Vladimir Putin, because that would make sense. It'd be amazing. And so we put in a formal request, and that request was denied, as it is every year. I've actually been trying to interview Vladimir Putin for like 5 years now. I actually put in a request when I was working at the Daily Wire, ironically, to pitched it to the CEOs. And it's like, maybe we can make this happen. We're trying to make it happen. And I think, to be honest with you, that Vladimir Putin doesn't know I exist. I'm working on it. Okay. Tucker Carlson stole my time. Anyway, we were informed that, well, if this is when you're coming, if you extend your trip a little beyond that week that you're intending to go, you could make it to the annual SPEEF conference, which is like the Davos of the East, so to speak. Just so you guys know, this is the most hilarious part. Trump administration sent an entire delegation to this same conference. Nobody reported on them. Nobody cared. I had every journalist asking, who's paying for this trip to Russia? Who's paying for it? We're paying for it because it's a family vacation.
Mm.
We pay for our own vacations. And so when they asked if I'd be interested in participating in a panel to discuss family, I said, sure, yes, that sounds great. And the rest is sort of clinical neuroses, I guess. Take a listen. This almost
Child, this AI is getting a hand in it. She had me going. She had me going. We're already here now. We gotta commit.
So the latest is Putin himself has just asked Candace Owens to speak today at this convention. So she's just gotten bumped up another level and she's thrilled about it.
Candace Owens went to Russia to just do propaganda work on behalf of the Russian regime. She wasn't in St. Petersburg because she wanted to see the churches or anything like that. She was there because she was attending and speaking at the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum alongside Vladimir Putin, Alexander Dugin, and other members of the Russian government and the intel community.
We've had all these woke writers that have been going to, for some of they've decided to go vacation in Russia. Yeah. But you know how difficult it is to get into Russia? Like, you don't get into Russia unless Russia invites you. She's getting a free trip to Russia. She's getting a free ride to Russia. I'm sure they're paying her a speaker fee. And she's speaking at the same event as Dugan. And absolute jackwagons.
If you don't understand what is going on here when Candace goes to Russia and is a guest of the state at this economic forum, is attending these different TV hits with RT, and she's talking about how surprised she is that it's a beautiful country and that the CIA must have lied to her all of these years about what Russia is like. If you fall for this, you are the mark for this kind of propaganda.
This is genuinely mental unwellness. I really do believe Zionism rots your brain, but this is just, I couldn't believe it. On top of that, you had Larry Loomer, who said that sources told her that Alexander Dugin, which they were all very focused on Alexander Dugin, actually met with my husband George in Italy a month ago in some secret meeting, which was news to us because I've never met Alexander Dugin. We still don't know Alexander Dugin, but I would like to know Alexander Dugin. I had no idea who was speaking at the SPEEF conference. Like I said, the Trump administration sent an entire delegation which participated in the SPEEF Economic Forum because it's a thing. It's a thing that many people have spoken out at in considered an honor to be able to speak at SPEEF. And yeah, it was just crazy. And she was demanding that I get investigated by the US Treasury and State Department. I'm like the same State Department that is sending an entire delegation are going to now investigate me for attending SPEEF, violations of FARA. Look at this tweet. This was just peak. A source tells me Candace and her husband allegedly previously met with Dugin in Italy. Candace has pretended not to know Dugin. Some of the people attending the conference with Candace have been sanctioned by the US government. Candace should be forced to register with FARA, and her bank accounts and her husband, George Farmer's bank accounts, should be flagged by FinCEN while she is in Russia. And then she tags US Treasury, Secretary Rubio. Then she asked, did Russia pay for your trip? No, Russia did not pay for my trip. I do not know Alexander Dugin. I don't know what this is other than Cirque du Soleil Clown World. But before we get into why, because there is a reason why, in particular, there was this panic amongst Zionists. Let's be clear. It was the Zionists that were having an absolute meltdown about Russia. It's important that you understand why. There's a historical reason as to why. I first want to emotionally dump some trauma onto you of what we were dealing with while we were in Russia. And so just to sort of protect names here, I'm not going to get too specific, but we traveled, and of course, my heart had been pulling for me like to go to Russia for a while, as I told you guys, which they completely lied about. My husband historically has fished in Russia. I think he used to do it once or twice a year. I think once a year. He had a whole fishing syndicate, and he told me how beautiful Russia was. We've been trying to make it work: pregnancy, traveling, the whole, the whole gambit. And so when this opportunity, we were like, no, we're really going to make this work. Let's make it happen now. I was just so excited. Now, of course, people who you speak to in the West, you say, go to Russia. There's this sort of cloud of just people believing the shadows on the wall that are being depicted by our mainstream media. People like that who are like, do you understand? She can't say Russia's beautiful and clean and safe because the CIA says it's not, and the CIA has never lied to us before. And so I wanted to make sure that also, because we were traveling with our children, that we took security with us. So we took a former military person from the United States and a former military person from Europe that our family is very familiar with. And we had a situation, it's genuinely going to make me cry. This was just so absolutely traumatizing. But on the second day that we were there, or the second morning, I guess, that we were there, we got a knock on the door from one of our security persons. This would be the European one. And I could just tell by the fact that my husband stepped outside that something was wrong. And he told us that our American um, military person had collapsed at breakfast. And he sort of said, look, he's okay. He's going to go lay down in his room, but I can just tell you my judgment and what I know. And I think we need to call the paramedics. I think he's had a stroke. And so obviously we immediately called the paramedics. You can imagine this is our second day. They were already, just as being former special forces people, nervous. They had never been to Russia. They didn't know what that was going to be like. They assumed obviously that Russians would have their entire history, thought it might be problematic. And so everyone was a bit just nerve wracked. And when he got to the hospital, his assessment was correct. So I just thank God in so many ways that this person just recognized what's happening, quickly got there, and then explained to us that actually before he got on the plane in America, he was experiencing some numbing, but he didn't tell us that because military guys, they're tough, they never want to complain, and they just get on with it. Of course, if you are about to have a stroke or you have a blood clot, the worst possible thing you could do is to get into the air because of pressure. So this obviously caused further issues. And so gratefully, he got in and they informed us that he immediately was going to have brain surgery. There was a massive clot in his brain. To go through the first and foremost, the trauma of realizing that we don't know this person, his wife and kids, like we don't know his, family.
Right.
We now have to figure out how to get an emergency visa for his wife. We don't know how to be able to communicate to her, tell her what's happening. Are we going to be able to do this? The amount of teamwork that it took, and just to make all of this happen, and also going through the trauma of them basically saying we're not allowed to go into the hospital. Obviously, we are not next of kin, and but they also wanted us to know, like, we have to do the surgery, but he may not make it through the night. Like, this was a literal life or death situation, and we were, completely in the hands of the this Russian hospital. And obviously, historically, I'm thinking Russians tend to be very good doctors, and gratefully, we were not seeing Vladimir Putin in Moscow, but we were seeing a Catholic family who were hosting us, taking us around. They moved from Iowa, an American family moved from Iowa to Russia, 8 kids, and they had had a situation where their youngest child had to go in for surgery, similarly in Moscow, and said that it was like they were fantastic and were amazing. And they said, you have the best doc, so get them in there. It was touch go. It was we were once we got the emergency visa for his wife, and we had to have conversations because they just did not think he was going to make it through the night. There was hemorrhaging. There was another procedure that they wanted to go through with, and us trying to communicate to his wife what was happening. But when she made it there, and I just was able to like hug her and basically say it was going to be okay, you can imagine. I mean, this woman showed up in her elbows, like, just sprinted to DC. We got the visa. There was so much coordination, and to the exact contrary, when the people in the hospital who had no special privileges, to be clear, when they found out that he was in the military, they went above and beyond. Above and beyond. There is a camaraderie that exists between, I think, military men all over the world. And when his wife shared with me the backstory of what was happening, I was the kind of anger that I'm experiencing toward America in general, of learning that he was trying to get an appointment. He knew something was wrong, and he had been trying to get an appointment with the VA for years, years, not months, not weeks, for years. And in the weeks before we had left, apparently he got on the phone with them and was screaming and saying, I know like something's not right. And they were effectively gaslighting him, saying that it could be, PTSD or whatever it is, because him and his platoon had survived a sonar blast. His wife then explained to me that multiple people that were in his platoon committed suicide because they similarly could not get appointments when they knew something was wrong. And so I was just thinking to myself, first and foremost, I was thinking, why is this happening? Then I had to have like a positive perspective. And I was just thinking about the irony of a person giving 12 years of their life to the American government. Okay. 12 years of your life, having survived a sonar blast, having, coming into contact with enemies, and then spending years of your life asking for an appointment when you know something's wrong, to be turned down over and over and over again, to be gaslit. And I know there are so many American military men out there changing the nail game and who go through this. I know we all know what the VA is. We all know how abysmal the treatment is of people when they come home after having served. But to know something is wrong with you and to be told to go home, uh, to still have to provide for your family, to get onto this plane because you're, being a tough guy, and to have this medical emergency happen in a country where you have basically been fundamentally told throughout your entire career they are the enemy, and to immediately get an appointment, to immediately get a scan, and to surgery, and to get the treatment that he had. He's still in recovery. He is still in Russia,
Mm,
and there, like I said, there were no special calls because we weren't coming in to see Vladimir Putin and Alexander Dugin. So they will be hearing the story for the first time. I mean, I don't think Vladimir Putin knows I exist, but to then have the exact, to have that perspective, to see how wrong and how backwards that is,
mm,
it has really, I don't know, just it makes me angry in a lot of ways. It makes me angry in a lot of ways that that appointment didn't happen on American soil.
mm,
And simultaneously, obviously, we were losing sleep because we didn't know when things were touch and go what was going to happen.
right.
And at the same time, I'm looking at my X feed and I am seeing this entire scenario with news that they're now going to effectively merge our military with Israel's military, right? I think you guys saw the headlines of this. Congress discreetly moves to merge US military even closer to Israel's. That's trending. People are outraged. Then we have at the same time Thomas Massey announcing that he's doing something to honor the survivors of the USS Liberty. Phil Turney being the person that I interviewed of the treatment that he endured as a actual survivor of a horrific attack, of what Israel did intentionally and consciously to our servicemen when they thought they were going to help Israel because they wanted to drag us into a wider war. I am watching people gaslight them, say, "Who cares? This happened a long time ago." This state of affairs in America, when it comes to the treatment of people who are, in many circumstances,
Wait,
or even if they don't lose their lives in the military, they are sacrificing their health and their well-being, is it's maddening.
mm,
It is absolutely maddening to me to gaslight these people, to have the audacity to tell them no if they want an appointment, even if they were being a hypochondriac after 12 years. If I said, I just want you to give me a CAT scan, because that should be an option given the amount we are paying into our military, that we seem to have limitless funds when people want to go to war in the Middle East. So I just wanted to express that happened, that is still happening. Pray for, servicemen everywhere. And to just tell you that the most beautiful thing, though, was to see all of that fear dissipate. You have three different countries of people who have served in the military, and they had this sort of camaraderie and a respect and a knowing, something deeper, I guess. I can't really hit upon, of knowing that they all fight, they give their bodies, and they just wanted to help. I can't explain it. It was just like it was something that was so beautiful that happened in this moment. And so I'll keep you posted, but that happened in the background. And anyway, the audacity of the gaslighting, I guess, sort of became this undercurrent theme, which rather neatly threads into Zionism, what we're seeing today, my broader experience in Russia, right? The audacity of the lies that they tell. It should just be studied. Just listening to that right there, they just don't care. Putin personally invited Candace to participate in this. We are all acknowledging right now that we are an occupied state. These people behave like a den of vipers. They swarm with lies, headline after headline, request after request in the media, demanding to know who paid for my trip. We paid for our own trip, like I said, multiple times because it was a family vacation to Russia, which is, by the way, perfectly legal. So just why
Right.
there the Zionist freak out about my visit? Why were they coming apart? Why were they doing multiple episodes lying and trying to smear me? Is there some thread between radical Zionism and Russia? And the answer is yes.
Mm,
Of course there is.
of course there is.
Story of the communist revolutions, the various communist revolutions all across Europe, which sought to destroy and successfully destroyed the Christian empire. That's a now, if you fast forward, a Zionist historical story.
Mm,
We could start with the assassination of Tsar Alexander II. It was plotted by a terrorist group in Russia, known in English as the People's Will. That was the name of the terrorist group. And despite the fact that these, again, are facts, that Jewish people represented only 4% of the population, they were overrepresented in this terrorist cell that was involved in the plotting and the eventual assassination of the Tsar. In 1881, which is when his carriage was passing through St. Petersburg, an assassin stepped forward and threw a bomb at his carriage. And the Tsar was unhurt, but one of his soldiers were, and he stepped out to check on him. And at that moment, a second assassin stepped forward and threw a bomb directly at the Tsar's feet, and he died. Incredible, by the way, background of this. The reason why I got into the story is I was just researching the history of radical feminism in our country, and it brought me to Russia, and the Jewish women who were involved in the plotting and the planning of this assassination. Don't take it from me. This is not Russian propaganda. You can just read American articles. An American Jewish woman who offered this article, which I sourced in my book, her name is Deborah Hertz, who was interested in why so many Jewish women in particular were involved in terrorism. The article is entitled Dangerous Politics, Dangerous Liaisons, Love and Terror Among Jewish Women Radicals in Tsarist Russia. And I'm just reading a quotation here, but she writes, luckily, we do possess meticulous numbers on the People's Will, the notorious radical organization from the 1870s and the 1880s. These figures reveal that Jewish women were spectacularly overrepresented in this circle. The People's Will attracted 2,193 activists during the decade of the 80s. Among these 2,000, some radicals were 95.
Y'all know I can't do her reading. Let me see where she left off at. Among these 2,000, some radicals were 95. Let me pause it and let her finish. 95 Jewish women represented a third of the 348 women in the party. Moreover, the 95 Jewish women were twice as well represented among the Jewish activists as Christian women were among the Christian activists. Statistics on the high proportion of Jewish women in the Russian Social Democratic Movement and the Social Revolutionaries, the successor party to the People's Will, also show a very robust participation by Jewish women. When we seek to understand why Jewish women were so attracted to the left movements, we must consider the deteriorating situation of Russian Jewry in these years. The overwhelming majority of Jews were confined inside the Pale of Settlement, the western region of Russia, former territory of the historic Polish Lithuania state.
Western region of Russia, the former territory of the historic Polish Lithuanian states. And so, what happened after this assassination? We're told in America is that there were these pogroms. It's very difficult for anybody to show what law kicked Jewish people out, but they willfully left when people said you can't kill czars and plan assassinations and pamphleteer, and there's no representation factually of Jewish people involved in this. Anyway, after his death, the Christian Romanov dynasty was still in power, so the revolution against the empire was not complete
Oh, geez.
until 1917, as you know, when the utterly satanic Bolshevik revolution murdered the entire Romanov family.
I ain't
The
brushing my teeth.
assassination of the Romanov family was led by the Bolshevik executioner, Yakov Yurovsky. He was, yes, a Talmudic Jew. The family was awakened and told to dress under the guise of being relocated to a safer place. They were then led into a cellar room, arranged for a photograph first to quell rumors that they had escaped. And then Yurovsky read out an execution order, surprised them. The guards opened fire in a chaotic bloodbath. But because the daughters had on family jewels that were sewn into their corsets, many of the initial bullets were deflected. It forced the executioners to then use bayonets.
You don't need Botox to contour your jowls. You just need
I was about to say. Fix it. Oh, give me a second. I was doing something in the background. Come on with this history lesson. Jesus Christ.
And at that
Because remember, she's reading her book, so
revolution was won,
for book club.
communist regime began under Vladimir Lenin. Uh, the greatest genocide of all time began, is a better way of saying it. More than 60 million Russian Christians were then ruthlessly murdered. Their churches intentionally closed, destroyed, burned, state atheism mandated. It's the genocide that Hollywood, for some reason, has never been interested in creating any films about. And an important element here is what happened to their wealth. This was a Christian empire. The jewelries, the diamonds, the arts, which belonged to these murdered Christian families who were thrown into gulags, where did it all go? Where is the stolen heritage of the Christian empire?
Uh-oh.
Well, we have an idea where some of it went. To America, actually, the
Oh.
Nile District
Oh.
City, to be exact. I continue to be amazed. I talked about it on my former podcast, The Daily Wire, by the family story of actor Armie Hammer. Do you know him? Like, you know, you've probably heard of him. Anyways, his family history and how they got here is quite amazing. It's incredible that people are allowed to be wealthy, given what their families were involved in, how they became wealthy. But you don't, again, this isn't Russian propaganda. This is from straight from the New York Times. You can learn about his family and how they came to America, who Julius Hammer was. This New York Times article was called The Riddle of Armand Hammer, and that would be his grandfather. It reads in part, after Lenin seized power in 1917, Washington, D.C. not only refused to recognize his government, it did not relent until 1933, but it also effectively cut off Moscow's access to all of its gold and currency reserves in the United States. The net effect was that the Soviet government could not buy the supplies that it desperately needed to retain power. So, to remedy the situation, Lenin appointed a Russian German engineer named Ludwig Martins as his ambassador to the United States with the mission of organizing shipments of supplies to the Soviet Union. But since Martins could not get control of the Russian funds immediately, he Julius Hammer for interim finance. Hammer paid the rent and other expenses of Martin's unofficial Soviet bureau in New York. Hammer was officially appointed the commercial attaché of the Soviet bureau and also was given an exclusive license for Russian trade By 1918, the Soviet Union was financing the Soviet Bureau by smuggling diamonds into New York. Which is also Julius Hammer was responsible for converting these diamonds into cash to finance the purchase of Soviet supplies, according to the autobiography of one of Julius Hammer's fellow party members. Armand Hammer denies this, but in any case, the Hammer family soon moved from their modest home in the Bronx to luxurious quarters in the Hotel Ansonia in Manhattan. And Julius Hammer noticeably improved his style of living.
It's his grandfather?
Fall into
Right.
following and tracing
Right.
how these diamonds came to America
Okay.
um,
Okay.
is quite stunning.
Okay.
I've been down those roads
Uh.
and it's just amazing that knowing this information makes you an anti-Semite. Now, the end of the story is fantastic. Despite hundreds of thousands of priests murdered, tens of millions of women and children murdered in concentration camps, Russian Christianity survived. Orthodox Christianity survived. Beauty and truth persisted. In fact, in the place where the revolutionaries bombed that royal carriage of Alexander II, Christians built a church right in the heart of St. Petersburg. And I'm going to show you a video that I shot right in the spot where the bomb was thrown on him. The church is appropriately called the Church of the Savior on Spilled Blood. And this is a video so you guys can see that's where his carriage was bombed. And that's where you gather to take a look at it. And this is just the ceiling. I mean, it's the most beautiful. I can't even explain to you the Christian heritage. This doesn't even do it justice. But I can tell you this. Here's my conclusion.
That's the ceiling.
What is feared about Russia?
Right.
What is feared about Russia is the fact that it is no longer communist. It hasn't been communist for over 30 years. It's survived communism. And the true history of what it went through, how it came to be, awaits any Christian or any person who's curious. Zionists in particular, like Ben Shapiro, like Mark Levin, they resent history, okay? They rewrite history. They seek to control Christians. You can only be a Judeo-Christian, whatever the hell that means. And I believe that you should take someone like Megyn Kelly very seriously when she says that she truly believes that if Mark Levin could get away with it, he would hurt her. He hates Russia. He says his grandparents are from Russia. That's a bit confusing. When did they come over, Mark? Who were they? What did they do? Why are you so maniacal? Why are you guys always calling for war and death and destruction? What is your true inheritance? You will know them by the fruit. That's what the Bible says. I encourage literally every person in the world to visit Russia. Apply for a visa. You actually are allowed to do that, Dana. Go see the Kremlin Museum. You will be spiritually moved by Russia. Everything, and I mean everything that we have been told about Russia is a lie. Okay. So when Tucker Carlson was going around looking at the grocery stores, that was not propaganda. That is real. Like I said, an entire Catholic family moved there from Iowa. And I asked them blankly, is this just in Moscow? They live an hour and a half outside. No. This is one of the most amazing things, how cheap the food is, how healthy the food is, that every place is like Whole Foods. They particularly pointed out the grocery stores, but I don't want you to take it from me. I don't want you to take it from Tucker Carlson. I want you to go for yourself. I want you to use your own eyes and I want you to believe your own eyes.
Mm. Okay, well, put Russia on the list then. Child, we gotta get monetized on YouTube first before we can be doing all
The
that.
takeaway from this show is that it is our society that is on the decline, not theirs. Russia, like I said, has not been communist over 30 years. What about us? Pornography, welfareism, nonstop war, debt. People telling us that this is freedom, right? This is great. This is you being free. You wouldn't want to live in Russia. That's the boogeyman syndrome, right? They're comparing it to something that you've never seen so that you don't, I don't know, riot in the streets, demanding change, recognizing that we are actually being stolen from. Our inheritance is being stolen from. And these people are growing increasingly dangerous in their demands, increasingly communist in our hands. They want to control our words, to control our thoughts, to punish us, tagging the US Treasury. They want me to go to prison for going to Russia. on a family vacation, you will know them by their fruits. So here are some photos from my trip that I wanted to share with you guys. And I had to take that photo because I had to upstage Tucker in the grocery stores, but they were actually so amazing. That picture, that person just looks like it's the Matrix, so I just had to include that.
Yeah.
It's like, look at these the icons, the Christian icons, the oldest Christian icons. You can just keep going through, but um, it was almost like a metaphysical.
Is that George? Is that George? Is this her husband? He do kind of look like that little boy. Have we seen her little boy before? I feel like we saw a picture of him. Ah, is that her husband?
Experience is the only way I can describe it, and you feel it, like you feel the experience,
Uh,
and you recognize.
Look at this art. How it just sort of like takes over the whole, like the whole wall, the ceiling. Like
Thing has gone wrong, and you see.
it's so breathtaking. Look at this. I mean, it just takes over the whole wall. All this detail. And I don't think that this is like painted onto the wall. It might be like canvases. Or would it be painted on the wall? These have to be canvases, right? These have to be canvases. I mean, stunning.
Know what it is that has gone wrong.
Look.
Our society doesn't look like this. Why is this safe? Why is it clean? Why are they lying to me about how safe and how clean it is?
Let me go get this guy. Look, let me go get this guy. I'm finna bring him up here. Let's see here. That's all. That's the yes. Cover that up. Hi. What you doing? What you doing? Look at the west.
On earth is this a country that is at a level 4?
That's what I was.
Is at a
Oh my God. That was George. Let me see. Oh my God, that was George. What a little baby. Probably stayed back. Look at George. I didn't know he was that fine. I didn't know. It caught me off guard. He did catch me off guard. That's why I was like, is that George? Let me so you can see yourself. Oh my God, he's so fine. Oh
ladies and gentlemen, what the
my God, he is fine.
advisory is DC?
Look, 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 look,
What
look.
is the
Oh, we got a pig. It's not blurred. Is that? Yep, yep. Look, don't blur it now. We just saw him.
Chicago, Los Angeles. We are so far in the cave, you guys, and people are creating shadows on the wall. We are at a very bad time in our country. Listening to Putin speak.
I'm gonna have to finish her on another. Child, she had 30 minutes of a history lesson. And I didn't even speed her up. That was on me. I thought you was gonna be asleep. Did you pee pee? Yeah, you had the pee pee. I got cream all on your face. You had the pee pee? Hmm? You good to rest? Don't come over here slapping my stuff. Don't come over here slapping my
Um, you should go pursue that speech. The translations are important to understand what they are saying. I very much believe that what he's saying is correct. The West is on the decline because it has used sanctioning as a weapon. You don't have to look to Russia to see that. Look at how they're treating us. This podcast was effectively Russia sanctioned to hell. Wasn't allowed to start because I wouldn't worship Israel, right? There, your Candace can't even get into Australia. She's banned from Australia. She can't go. Kanye can't perform in the West. He's not allowed to do his songs because it's now ideological. You will support Bibi Netanyahu. You will support that genocide. But as you said, the sanctions are not applied even Israel is not sanctioned to support it, right? Despite the amount of people and children that they have killed, they'll find any reason if they want to sanction you. They'll say, oh, you didn't support the LGBTQ movement enough, so we're going to sanction you. That is a controlling mechanism and is a weapon that is failing. And there is now a power that is building in the East that is reality. You have to face that. Okay. You have to understand what is happening on a global scale and to understand why they are lying to you about the state of Russia. The country was beautiful. I want to go back. I absolutely will visit. I'll stay a longer time in Moscow. It felt futuristic. Speak conference was absolutely futuristic, and yeah, all I can do is tell you guys the truth. There's no one that funds me, as I've always told you, and that is why they are constantly attacking me. Is because they've already figured out that I can't be controlled by money.
Mm.
And I want our kids to have a chance in the future. And right now, it feels like America is being squeezed. That our servicemen are being lied to and squeezed, and it's not to the benefit of any of our families. It's only to its detriment.
You good to rest? So rest. Go. You get to rest. Never mind. You get to rest. Mm.
All right, you guys. Now we have to talk about turning points, disastrous women's leadership signs.
Oh, what?
Once bright organization has become, but that was also trending all over the place.
Of course.
The biggest one being, actually, I said the biggest one, but one of the peak ones being Erica Kirk getting called a pedophile while she was delivering her speech. She was heckled. Take a listen.
Wait, what?
It's important to remember that happiness comes and goes. It is so fleeting, but the joy of the Lord withstands all.
I didn't see that. But let me tell you, look, I let me tell you something. Watch it. Watch it. Hold on. What man, this chick so damn evil.
Happiness comes and goes. And I pray that you
Hold on. Watch her. We've seen this so many times before.
All right, you guys. Now we have to talk about Turning Point's disastrous women's leadership.
We've seen this, I think this makes the third time, maybe the fourth time. It's almost like she can't even like hide it. How her eyes like go dark. The stop one, when she says stop, watch her, watch her, watch her, watch her. When who whoever that chick is, they started screaming out, watch her.
It is sweet.
I can zoom in, John.
Lord withstands all.
Watch it. Oh, there it is. Look. She's seeing red smoke has started to come out of her ears. I think she got a laser beam. She got like a laser beam. Pew, pew. Look, and then look, now she knows she gotta like, hold on. Look, ooh, it's are you about to cry or and then there's this smirk, and it's almost because look, if she was official and she was certified, child, that Donald Trump would have hit Donald Trump be so certified with it. He would have hit one of them, escort them out of here. Look, 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 look. Ooh, she thought they hot. Ooh, then her voice changed. Look, look, then her voice changed. What happened to all that? What happened?
Just trying to
Look, ooh, she got so mad about that.
Okay, and just a correction, I said she got called a pedophile. I meant to say she was, they said that she was protecting pedophiles. And so it's an interesting comeback. Happiness comes and goes. I hope, pray that you find happiness. This is kind of like the entire new Turning Point grift. It's just so icky. It's there, just constantly kind of using the Bible as a shield, but kind of the bless you. Well, bless you, honey. Well, I'm going to pray for you, honey. It's very obvious. There's nothing godly here, and they're actually really angry. And I do want to say this, that if that had happened to me, and might I offer that I also think that if that had happened to Charlie Kirk and someone had heckled him and said that you protect pedophiles, that's a great opportunity to be what Turning Point has always been and say, oh, you have a disagreement, come to the front of the line.
Mm.
We said, you have a disagreement, come to the front of the line. I would love to debate you on saying, but I protect pedophiles. I can debate that any day of the week, and I want to make sure that you're not just allowed to shout something that's fundamentally untrue. Now, what is
Mm.
the person speaking about? Well, they're speaking about these unique partnerships with shady people that have shady pasts. Erica immediately going on tour with the church, Harvest Church, Greg Lowry, as somebody that she was very involved with the faith community, Erica being involved with like the bringing really kind of this whole faith grift to Turning Point USA. A little bit weird when people are saying that they believe that you had something to do with trafficking in Romania, if that's the allegation that's made about Erica Kirk's past,
Who is
that
it?
you partner with a church that is quite literally being sued for the very same reasons. Now, the lawsuit is not over. Maybe these Romanians are lying about the trafficking that is taking place at the church. I believe Greg Lorry's argument is, well, Paul,
I got some water.
his name
I don't
is,
have no cup.
he did some things in Romania, but it wasn't a conspiracy. Again, every person that Erica has these sort of big dealings. And actually, someone emailed me and said that Victor Marx said that his like mentor was Greg Laurie. So they're all just kind of connected, all of these shady characters, and people are noticing that. And Erica's never answered for anything. She just has kind of rides like a queen. Like I don't have to answer anything. I'm not does it matter? I'm taking it like it's no matter how many Bible verses you spit out, people can see through the script. Which brings us to Dana Lash, the one who just said you can't go to Russia. Candace is working with Putin and Dugin. She doesn't care about the truth; it doesn't matter at all. But this was the speech that she gave, and like I said, this is the new direction of Turning Point USA. Holier than thou. Take a listen.
I said last year at this very event that men and women when choosing your spouse, your husband or wife, pick someone that you can go into battle with. And my God in heaven, how this became true just a few months later. So allow me to step out very boldly right now. Exodus 22:22. You shall not afflict any widow or fatherless child. If you afflict them in any way and they cry out at all to me, I will surely hear their cry and my wrath will be hot.
You don't know what an AI work management platform is? Okay, let me tell you. Here's 3 new AI powered changes to the Monday platform and
I still can't believe it's clickbaited. Just not gonna be able to get over that. I, um, I mean,
Deuteronomy 27:18. First is the one who perverts the justice due, the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow. Isaiah 1:17.
okay, little booty or lack thereof. Little booty. My goodness, honey. Look, I thought it was them shoulders, child. It's that lack of booty back there. Come on, little booty.
Seek justice. Plead for the widow.
Wait, what you looking at? Hmm? What you looking at? Did you get you some rest? Hmm? Did you get you some rest? Some rest. Yeah. That's what I was trying to figure out. Did you get some rest? Child, they was gonna think you were mute. Maybe time. You need to get some shorts. He do be talking to me. He do be talking to me. He sure does be talking to me. Here, wipe him out. Are you going back to sleep or what? You can get there. And why are you trying to wake everybody up? Because you up early. I'll wrap it. I'll finish on my own time. I just don't want to be tossing and turning and stuff. She had clickbaited me. I thought she had sat down with Vladimir. Oh, I couldn't believe she did that to me. You ready? Yeah, I want you to have all my undivided attention. Just say bye-bye. Yeah, we'll cover up. It's still a little chilly in here. I had that air on. I want you to have all. Oh, I left the remote over there. I want you to have all of my undivided attention. Of course. Don't be yawning. Don't do that. Don't do that, sir. Oh, I keep forgetting to delete files. Don't do that, sir. I'm finna go and get on up out of here because he be needing all of my undivided attention. Rightfully so. or he'll start screaming. Not like screaming, but talking loud, trying to wake everybody up because he see that there's no one up but him. I don't even think the turtles are up yet. So I'm like, come on, come on. Let me go ahead and get you situated. I was just waking up because she clickbaited me again because I was for certain she had sat down with Vladimir. I didn't know that within the first 30 seconds she said that it was clickbait. I didn't know. Don't knock my stuff down. Let me go ahead and in the meantime, I'll finish her on my own time. Yeah. What I got. Oh, I'll finish it when I come back. Um, you know, it'll save my spot in line. But in the meantime, in the breathing time, okay. Love you. Bye. Mwah. And you have to say, "Mwah." I like a little kiss. Mm, I like a little kiss. Bye bye.